I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Nutland, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine Law Statement. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met for this meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Oradell. Notice of this meeting was filed with the Record and Town News and all persons requesting such notice. Mrs. Noreen, would you read the mission statement?
Certainly. The Oradell Public School District is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district is committed to providing opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery to foster curiosity, courage, and character. Our goal is to prepare our students to become lifelong learners who are self-directed, resilient, productive, responsible citizens.
Thank you. Roll call.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco will not be here tonight. Mr. Darian.
Here.
Mrs. Downey. Here. Mrs. Moran.
Here.
Mr. Nutland.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Walsh will not be here tonight. Mrs. Norian.
Here.
Mrs. Nichols.
Here. At this time, we'll move to the superintendent's report.
Since our last board meeting, 3 annual OPS events occurred. We had our Halloween parade on Memorial Field. We then sent the 49th OPS class to Sharp for their 2-night field trip. OPS is one of the only elementary schools I know of that does an overnight field trip. I would like to extend my gratitude to the teachers who plan and chaperone the trip. It is a lot of work that goes above and beyond their normal job description. I'd like to thank this board for continuing to support the trip. While this is a parent-funded trip, the board annually contributes over $15,000 to cover teacher stipends and transportation. There are some events like Sharp that stay the same. However, others evolve over time. For example, most people know that one of my favorite events during the year is the Turkey Trot. I believe it is important to find ways to teach children that they can make a difference. I love hearing stories of families who bring their children to the store and allow them to pick out the food items to donate, making it a financial literacy lesson also on how to stretch a dollar. This year, on what was indeed the coldest night so far, we had our first nighttime family turkey trot, continually evolving, which was an idea of our PE teachers brought forward. I hope it will continue to be an event moving forward. I am so excited to announce, and nobody's child knows this yet, that we collected over 4,000 food items, which were packed and sent off to the Center for Food Action by a group of 6th graders and representatives from the PTA this morning. If you follow our social media, you will know that 4,000 was the limit we needed to reach for our assistant principals to put on their blow-up turkey costumes and have an obstacle course through the school. I did have a dental appointment yesterday and was out of the building. I might have driven all the way up here to drop off 70 items. I was a little excited. On the district level, students in grades 4 through 6 completed the mandated NJSLA field test last week. On a recent professional day, staff worked on completing mandated mental health training focused on suicide prevention, collaborated on report card benchmarking protocols, and our special area teachers had an opportunity to dialogue with their counterparts in River Edge. Several security projects were completed recently, including the deployment of additional cameras outside the building, and you will notice additional panic buttons within the building. Additionally, before the cold hit, a section of the back lawn was reseeded. As you look at your agendas this evening, you will be asked to approve the annual Uniform Memorandum of Agreement with law enforcement. This is a standard document that outlines protocols for the police department's allowable interactions with the school. The only portion that is district-specific is a section that outlines video surveillance protocols, how the police department keeps the video secure, and who has access to review it. You will also notice that we are in the process of onboarding 3 new substitute teachers in our efforts to continually grow our substitute pool. The one event I would like to draw your attention to that occurs prior to our next meeting is that on December 11th, our 4th grade band and choral groups, along with both handbell groups, will be performing at 7 p.m. in this auditorium. I know that many of the board's children had their musical start in band at OPS, so if you want to reminisce with a rousing rendition of Hot Cross Buns, we'll be here. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Iapelli?
Yes, good evening. I know I'll sound like a broken record, but I'm still just finishing up the audit, so I'm glad that they are off-site. They are back at their office, now just sending email requests. That's really been consuming a lot of my time, so that concludes my report.
Thank you. I have a quick question on the superintendent's report. You said we did the test for the NJSLS. How did that go?
What we noticed was the writing portion. Operationally, everything was fine. The writing portion definitely pushed our students. It is 120 minutes of a writing assessment. Even with a break, that's a lot. So that is something that we'll continue to look at, and I'm wondering if the state will be giving us an opportunity to provide some feedback on that.
Was the test that they took now the same as the one they're going to take, the same length each section, or was it just a shorter version?
It was a shorter version. As a reminder, it's really a validity test to check the questions before it's actually operational in the spring. So everybody, even in our school, had different questions just so that they can cull. And it was actually part of the RFP for the new testing company. They were required to try it on New Jersey students before it became operational. So the state kind of set it up from the start that we were going to have to do a field test in the fall.
Thank you. Review of minutes, October 15th and 29th. Any comments or questions, please email Mr. Iapelli. Move to administrative. Mrs. Norian, would you take that?
Certainly. I'd like to present items A1 and A2.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Mrs. Walker. Any questions? Mrs. Walker?
And thank you for that update on Ms. Sposio's concerning the annual review of the uniform memorandum. But I have a question. Is that every year that we do this? This is just a matter of formality? Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. For A2, item number 2, that's what's in our packet, is that right?
You received the executive summary for the first one in your folders on Friday, and the second one is in your packet
All
tonight.
right.
Any other questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey. Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Del Greco is on here. Mr. Darian, would you take that?
Sure. For buildings and grounds, we have 2 items on the agenda tonight, B1 and B2. I'd like to introduce.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Mr. Darian?
Yeah, I haven't seen the long-range facility plan. I don't think we reviewed it at all during B&G. So,
It's not going to be submitted. This is just to get it on, so after you review it, it can just go. This is just the,
I don't understand. What do you mean it's not going to be submitted?
well, it's not submitted yet. It has not been completed. This is just, when it's completed, they could just submit it, because it could be in between board meetings, and there are dates that it's due, so just to give some housekeeping,
Oh, so we're kind of like pre-approving it.
pre-approved, right,
So
but then,
when it's done, it can go?
then it could go, exactly.
So
So
are
we have another couple of weeks,
So we're going to be notified that
Absolutely,
it's
yes.
done, and we're going to get a chance to review it?
yes.
We're going to
Yes.
meet in buildings and grounds to go over it.
Yes, we could do that. I will recommend, request Mr. Sikora to come.
When is it due?
Off the top of my head, I can't, I don't want to say,
I mean, is it due next month?
no. No, it's next year, not next school year, but next calendar year before the spring. That's,
So is there a harm in tabling? 'Cause I'm not that comfortable just voting for something that we're going to then go over. Mr. Darian, you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I wouldn't mind tabling it because, you know, I feel uncomfortable just, approving it, and then, what if we never get around to it? And then, it'll be too late. So, it'd be hard to go back and say, well, we got to review it, et cetera, or make any changes, because it's already been approved, so.
Is there any harm in doing that?
No, it's your prerogative.
Because it's not due in December, basically, right?
Correct.
So it's up to you, Mr. Darian. You're the one who made the motion.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to table B2 and only submit for consideration B1.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mrs. by Mrs. Walker. Any other questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Downey. Mrs. Mrs. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes, curriculum, Mrs. Norian.
No report at this time.
Finance, Mr. Darian.
Yes, we haven't had a finance subcommittee meeting, so I have nothing new to report, other than I understand that our auditors have been completing, so hopefully that'll free up our schedule so that we can start with the 2025-26 school year budgeting process. So with that, I'd like to introduce finance items D1 through D5.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions? Mr. Darian, I think you meant the 26-27 school year.
See, I'm always forgetting what year we're in. Did I say 25-26?
Yeah, we're done with it.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Downey. Mrs. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes, delegate report. Mrs. Norian, you want to take that?
Just that you got the information sent to you about the things that will be presented at this Saturday's delegate assembly. I plan to be there. If anybody has any comments or questions about what was presented, please let me know, so I know how to vote, if there's any issue with anything.
I want to talk about that under new business, maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Okay, good.
When is the meeting? It's this week, right?
It's this weekend, Saturday.
Right. Personnel, Mrs. Walker.
Yes, thank you. We did not have a meeting since our last one, and which was 2 weeks ago. I'd like to present F1.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions?
I have a question.
Mrs. Walker?
On Roman numeral 4A, the extension of the family leave, is that usual that we would extend it for the year?
We have in numerous times when someone is supposed to come back and they've asked to extend it. It's always a difficult decision for a staff member and for us. The staff member gets no health care, so a lot of times that pushes them to come back. In this case,
Right.
the employee has said, I really do need till June. And it is a valued member of our community, so we're going to give her that time so she can be back and ready to teach in September.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Downey. Mrs. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes, policy, Mr. Nutland.
Nothing new to report. Thank you.
Public relations, Mrs. Downey. At this time, we'll open to the public.
Do you
I need a timer,
you
Mr.
like to track
Darian.
a time? How much time are we going to have?
3 minutes.
Okay.
How's it going? Councilman John Kern, I'm the liaison for the board. As you know,
Today I have a message from the mayor, James Koth. I ask that it be read verbatim into the minutes. Dear Board President Watson-Nichols, Superintendent Bozios, and Principal Hawley, I apologize for not being available to attend your board meeting in person this evening, as I am representing the borough at the annual meeting at the New Jersey State League of Municipalities. As governing body's liaison to the board, I appreciate Councilman Kern's appearance on my behalf. It has recently come to my attention that the school board's annual holiday sing-along will no longer follow its traditional format as an in-person event, but be broadcast virtually. If understood this correctly, parents will no longer be welcomed into the school to see the festive event that both the children and the parents alike look forward to each year during the holiday season. If that is true, I find it very unfortunate and disappointing. I have heard a variety of reasons which I will be contributing to this change in the format, including a disruption to academics and public safety concerns within the building. As mayor of our community, I am requesting clarification as to why this change is being implemented. OPS has always served as a hub for our community. It is the school of our children to attend, where they play in recreation programs and participate in plays, musicals, and other performances, to name a few of the cherished events our community values as it has come to be expected. In a society where we're trying to limit screen time and overall resilience on technology for our children, how can the social component of this event be removed by having the kids perform before a camera versus a live and engaging audience? One, where the children can see the happiness of their music brings to the approval of the parents and loved ones. Personally speaking, I have tried to view this and other performances virtually whenever I have not been able to attend. Unfortunately, I encountered technical issues on many occasions, the audio being absent from the sing-along one year. As issues with technology happen and are understandable, changing the format to a virtual-only performance could cause a parent to miss the performance, which is simply unacceptable. Our kids grow too quickly to wait another year to see their perform again. If there are any issues, the school requires assistance, such as public safety. The borough is happy to offer resources that are necessary to the school to ensure that the event can occur as it has traditionally has. I have called Oradell my home for my entire life, and I have cherished memories of my days at OPS. The board was kindly enough to allow the borough to hold our reorganization here, and I have sworn and to be sworn in as mayor. As it gives me great pride to see the kids grow here, I hope you get a sense that I'm personally conveying about how meaningful this institution is to our community. I strongly urge the board and the school administration to revert to holding the holiday sing-along in its traditional in-person format, considering what this is and other events mean to the students and to the parents. Please do not hesitate to reach back out to me or the borough for assistance. Sincerely, James Koth, Mayor. And I, Jonathan Kern, also follow in his message, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Darian, are you going to give a 30-second warning? Yeah.
Good evening. At the heart of every choice we make
Please
is
state your name.
Rosemary Cataldo, STEAM coach at Oradell. At the heart of every choice we make is the well-being of our students and staff. The overcrowding experience in the NPR poses safety concerns that simply cannot be ignored. The new format allows us to celebrate together while ensuring a safer environment for all. Also, please recognize that extended rehearsals and long blocks of time out of the classroom pull our students away from valuable instruction time. By refining the structure of the event, instruction time is protected while still honoring the traditions our school community loves. These changes are upsetting for many parents. Songs Fest is a cherished tradition, and any change to something so meaningful naturally brings strong emotions. We believe that the administration's goal has been to maintain the spirit of the event while keeping safety and learning at the forefront. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Roberta Kenyon, 25 years at OPS. Over my years at OPS, we have navigated many changes. Report cards, field trips, curriculum, staffing, safety protocols, and evolving state and federal requirements. We adapted through COVID, shifting to virtual learning when needed. Not every change is perfect, but each one teaches us, strengthens our practice, and moves us towards a better tomorrow. Decisions at OPS are never made lightly or on a whim. We plan them through careful discussion, brainstorming, weighing pros and cons, and keeping one priority at the center. How do we prepare our students academically, emotionally, and socially? Our faculty is committed to meeting students' social, emotional, and academic needs while building a strong, connected OPS community. As a parent in a nearby community, I'm often struck by how fortunate Oradell is. My children's elementary school and many other schools in our area do not offer field trips. They do not offer in-school visits or volunteer opportunities that OPS consistently provides. When they do, they are often limited to small groups. OPS's approach is broader and more inclusive. Each year, I look forward to our new second grade adventures. Been in second, then to third, back to second, love second. I'm genuinely excited for my students to experience a new spring musical performance. And I love having parents in to build leprechaun traps. I'm also looking forward to seeing my former students and current students interacting at the sing-along in December, and everything else this year's class will bring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Caruana, first grade teacher, second grade 1 year. Good evening, members of the board, colleagues and families. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As a classroom teacher, I want to begin by acknowledging the strong feelings that many families have about our Winter Song Fest. The event has been and continues to be a tradition that we have at OPS, and I truly understand how much parents want to share those moments with their children. My boys hate singing in front of public, so if the Song Fest got canceled in their school, they'd be cheering. But that I know is not every child's feelings about it. I also would like to be clear about the decision that was made. The administration has determined that this year's Song Fest, as you know, will take place as a student and staff sing-along. As a teacher, I support their decision and their choice, and I'd like to explain why that decision was reached and how we will work intentionally to keep creating meaningful memories for our students and families. In a school our size, as mentioned, it's very uncommon for every student and staff member to be in one place together. And we haven't been able to do that in a long time with the Song Fest, being split up into 3 separate teams. That rare opportunity is valuable, and the sing-along still allows students to experience that sense of community, seeing siblings, former teachers, and future teachers, all in one gathering. Preserving that connection for our students was an important factor in the change. Another key reason for the adjustment was to minimize disruption to our instructional time. In prior years, the week before the holidays often involved daily rehearsals that pulled students out of my class, as well as gym, art, library, and other classes that they look forward to, especially when I have to tell them that they're not going to gym and they're going to practice singing. They get very upset, especially the little ones. By holding a student and staff event, we can keep students in their regular routines while still celebrating the season together. It also creates a more controlled, calm environment that supports students who may become overwhelmed during large public events. Again, as a mom, my older son, the week of the holiday sing-along in elementary school, requested to skip the entire week of school because he hated singing so much in front of people. So not every student has that same feeling. Importantly, this new format opens up more room for grade level and classroom celebrations that the administration thought of and added to your parent visitations throughout the year, events that families will be invited to attend, and these events will showcase individual students in ways that are deeply meaningful. Our goal is not to take celebrations away from families, but to balance the celebration with the needs of students and the realities of our schedule and space. I respect and hear your disappointment, but please know that we are always committed to making everything memorable for your children and to strengthening the partnership between school and family. Thank you for your understanding, your support, and your continued trust in us.
Thank you.
Hi, Karen Heinz-Marin, fourth grade teacher. This is my 10th year at OPS. Before having the pleasure of teaching here, I taught in Wyckoff and Ridgewood. Due to smaller class sizes, we had weekly opportunities to come together as a whole school for assemblies and performances. At OPS, because we are so big, students don't have these experiences. A little bit more about myself. In my house, there is a lot of music. My son Sean is a professional musician. He plays second flute and piccolo with the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra. My daughter Maeve is a classically trained singer and future elementary music teacher. She's also on keyboards and vocals in a rock band called Girl Band. My youngest daughter Claire is a competitive Irish dancer. Their musical interests are not genetic. Mr. Marin and I can barely carry a tune. But my kids found their love of music in school. So as a flute mom, a voice mom, and an Irish dance mom, I know how important music is to children. The chance to perform in school can be life-changing, as it has been for all three of my kids. Luckily, there are many opportunities to perform at OPS. We have choral performances, band concerts, handbells, musical theater productions, and new this spring, fourth graders will sing songs in a tribute to New Jersey. By limiting the sing-along to students and staff, we will create a unique opportunity for the entire school to come together. Our students will love playing the new games. They will love singing with their friends from every class. They will love singing with students in every grade. They will love singing with every teacher, staff member, and administrator at the top of their lungs, hopefully, in pajamas. They will love making music together. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Tracy Sham, tag teacher at OPS. I am fortunate to have begun my teaching career at Oradell Public School. So for 39 years, OPS has been my classroom. And like our students, I have had the pleasure of being part of the holiday sing-along each year. During my tenure, the event has gone through many, many versions. When I started in the late 1980s, no laughing, we held 2 assemblies in the auditorium, one for grades K to 2 and another for grades 3 to 6. The sing-alongs were attended solely by teachers and their students, and they were always fun. They were a fun, festive kickoff to the December break. I have such fond memories of hamming it up, hard to believe, and some truly spectacular off-key singing, and most of all, the laughter and the smiles. My students absolutely had a blast. Fast forward to today, our staff and administration have welcomed parents, grandparents, and other family members to join us in the celebration, but once again, the evolving demands of education require us to make adjustments to the day's format so that we can maintain academic excellence and continuity of instruction. These adjustments remind me of an essay question I answered when I first applied for my position at OPS, one that focused on accountability. My response needed to reflect the triad of accountability that educators are held to: accountability to our parent community, to our administration and Board of Education, and to state and federal policies. But always at the center of that triad is our accountability to our students. In fairness, I also remember that essay because I rewrote it at least 10 times before submitting it. In many ways, the sing-along is a reflection of that accountability process. It's gone through many iterations because just like today, our staff and administration continue to grow and respond to the evolving needs of the educational community. We've always made these changes dutifully, enthusiastically, and with our students' joy and best interests at the center. The reality is there are only so many hours in the day. Some events must, excuse me, some events must be modified, while others have remained and are still traditions that make OPS such a special place to work and learn. I hope that the community will continue to believe in the professionalism of our staff and in our deep love for the OPS community. As always, we will make the sing-along a lasting and meaningful memory for our students, one rooted in love, celebration, and one that embraces the academic and safety needs of today. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Lewandowski. I'm a parent of 4 children, 3 of whom are current OPS students. I'm not here tonight to debate the sing-along itself. I fully recognize the board has no direct authority over this decision. If the OPS administration chooses to replace tradition and shared experience with screens and virtual substitutions, the board can only watch it happen. What I am here to speak about is time management, communication, and administrative focus. While time was spent creating slideshows of parents on their phones or sitting in the back of the NPR, weaponizing our attendance, valuable hours could have gone towards finding solutions for our slipping math scores, extended teacher leave of absence, and mid-year teacher switches. Time that could have been invested in developing real district goals with measurable indicators. Time that could have been used to deliver long-promised security updates and to implement a clear incident response protocol. I'm asking the board to take a serious look at the arguably manipulative tactics used during the school-wide assembly, an assembly that pulled students and teachers away from valuable instruction time, the very reason we were told Songfest was canceled. During that assembly, my 9-year-old son was singled out and publicly pressured to ring a bell for ideas he liked, even though he was uncomfortable and didn't agree. That's not empowerment, that is manipulation. And while administration was busy answering the flood of emails this decision created, they could have avoided all of it by communicating early, clearly, and collaboratively. Instead, the change to the sing-along was buried at the bottom of an email 4 weeks before an event families have anticipated for months. Had administration been proactive, parents wouldn't have to break the news to their own children. Administration also owes families honest, direct explanations why the sing-along is being canceled and what exactly will take it in its place. Packing 800 students and staff into the NPR is larger than any Songfest we've ever held. It doesn't sound safer, it doesn't sound organized, and certainly doesn't sound like a fully formed plan. Countless families, including myself, have suggested manageable alternatives to allow for a modified event. I ask the board to consider why exactly the administration is so overwhelmed that when my 11-year-old submitted a persuasive letter using a skill he learned here at OPS, he received a rushed, dismissive response. That interaction hurt him, and we all know once something like that happens, while an apology helps, it doesn't erase it. I very much wish this decision could be overturned. What I'm truly asking is for the board to guide the administration back towards its mission, to put down personal agendas. Canceling the sing-along may make life easier for adults, but it robs children of experiences and builds confidence, public speaking skills, and for many, their very first taste of the performing arts. Finally, I ask, and I'm truly asking, the board to help administration stop repeating history. The same concerns keep resurfacing, further impacting the community's trust and confidence in the school. Canceling the sing-along isn't canceling an activity. It's removing a moment of nostalgia and tradition that anchored them to their school community. I beg administrators to listen to the community, a mutually agreed upon event that is safe and ultimately makes our children happy. Thank you again for the time and opportunity to stand up tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Danielle Morris. I have 3 children. One is a junior, graduated from OPS, one that's currently here, and one that will be here soon enough. While I personally don't do well with public speaking, so I'm going to look down the whole time, I thought it was necessary to come here with this evening to advocate to reinstate Songfest for in-person viewing. There is a petition circulating, and though this petition was created by me, it actually started in a small group chat of moms who were all feeling alike. The general consensus was that families were upset, frustrated, and fearing retaliation for speaking up. So the petition was born. It took off. Over 450 parents, grandparents, and former students have signed in support of allowing families to attend upcoming sing-along. We believe community is important. There's no single face or villain here, just a united group hoping to create a warm, inclusive experience for our children. If safety is a concern, we can hire a resource officer, limit attendees, implement tickets, or host it outdoors. If time outside the classroom is the issue, send home the lyrics. Let the kids practice at home with us, with their parents who are going to come and watch. It's just one day, and perhaps a small change could allow the entire OPS community to enjoy this in-person celebration for yet another holiday season. I do have a couple comments that were written on the petition from former students that I'd like to read. Kylie, no last name, I graduated from OPS and have always looked forward to the holiday sing-alongs every single year, and having my family members watch me during them definitely made them more fun. I'm sure that parents are excited to see their kids perform as well. I know mine were. This is very sad and makes me very upset, because in my opinion, there's no point of kids having these performances if there's not even a real audience visible for them. That was Kylie. Britt, actually that's not a student, sorry, one second. Jen, as an OPS graduate, this is sad to hear. Part of the magic of these events is watching the children light up when they see the people they love in the crowd. It motivates them, builds confidence, and creates memories they carry with them for years. Replacing them with a screen is not the same experience. Caroline, as an OPS grad, the sing-along was a core memory of being an OPS Panther. Changing this heartwarming event to be virtual takes away the meaning of the holidays and the community. I do have one parent that wrote something. It's not many years we get to be involved and see our kids showcasing what they've learned in school. It's chaotic, and if my kid's standing next to the kid coughing, you bet I'm cringing. But watching a video or watching our kids in person is not even a conversation, in my opinion. This just seems like the easy way out. We've done this for what, 30 plus years? What's the problem now? When you trade convenience for everything else, what's next? A video of field day. So, that's it. Thank you.
I'm also not one for public speaking, I will be reading. Lauren Gencarelli, I have 2 students here at OPS. Board members, administration, staff, other parents, thank you for giving me this time. I want to clearly state that I do support the points made about Winter Song Fest by other parents thus far, but I also want to address the broader issue that I'm observing highlighted by this situation that's an ongoing concern at OPS regarding communication practices and the consistent pattern of parents receiving information that is incomplete, misleading, or delivered only after decisions have been finalized. Over the past several years, families have repeatedly found themselves learning about significant changes with little context, little notice, and no opportunity to understand or discuss the reasoning behind them. This is not about any single event. Instead, it reflects a broader communication issue that affects how families plan, how we support our children, and how we understand the direction of the school. Too often, the information shared with families and parents is only part of the picture or arrives so late that it feels like an afterthought, rather than a meaningful attempt to engage or inform. This creates confusion and frustration that could easily be avoided with earlier, clearer, and more transparent communication. Parents want to be aligned with the school. We want to understand the challenges OPS is facing, whether logistical, safety-related, staffing-related, or operational. When information is delivered late or without full context, it prevents families from being able to plan appropriately and creates a sense that communication is reactive instead of proactive. I'm not asking for parents to be decision makers. I'm simply asking for communication that is timely, accurate, and straightforward when major shifts are presented. And as final and non-negotiable with prior indication that changes were being considered, it creates avoidable tension and erodes trust over time. Our community is strong and supportive. Families consistently step up when asked, whether through volunteering, fundraising, or contributing resources. What we ask in return is not special treatment, but clarity, not influence, but honesty, not involvement in every decision, but communication that respects the fact that parents rely on the school to provide information they can trust. I encourage the board to take a close look at how information flows to the family and to help establish processes that prioritize transparency and timely communication. These improvements would strengthen trust, reduce confusion, and build a healthier school culture for everyone involved. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Ms. Bozos, do you want to say anything, or?
I do. First of all, Councilman Kern, can you clarify Mayor Coth's email for me? Because I emailed him twice to create a safer turkey trot, and I haven't heard back, so I can only assume I must have had it wrong.
Yes, actually, I will email you later his
Thank
email
you.
and send it to you.
Because I know that he would definitely have wanted me to have those lights outside.
No problem.
Thank you. And additionally, I'm really proud of when we make growth. So I just want to touch on one thing because it's something that Mr. Werner has worked really hard on. Our math scores actually went up this year. It is something we're really, really proud of. I know that was one little point in there, but it's something I want to give Mr. Werner credit for because it is part of why we hired a math guy. Now, the announced changes to this year's winter sing-along weren't made hastily, although I know they look like they were. 2 years ago, with a completely different school-based administrative team, they came to me and spoke about concerns regarding crowding in the NPR. The police actually do send us a police officer for that event. So it wasn't that, it was the actual crowding of the event, which did exceed building code. The difference between 800 students and 270 students with 500 extra chairs is actually the furniture in the room. So for example, MPRC has a capacity of 138 if furniture is in the room, 256 with no furniture in the room. So crowding was that primary concern. But we said, we love this event. You may not know this, I created the event. Songfest didn't look like it looks right now prior to my time as principal. It was individual grade level assemblies. I wanted an event to bring the community together. The following year, because it was an event that I loved so much, we tried to make changes regarding rehearsal times and splitting up classes differently to mitigate both the concerns. Yet after last year's Songfest, a completely different school administrative team came to me and said, we still have the same two issues. When speaking about different options to address both issues, from grade level assemblies to possibly just doing this as a K-3 assemblies of K-3 students, the school-based administration and I kept coming back to the same issue. Songfest was created to provide a community feel across all 7 grades, to put K-6 together, to let big kids remember what it was like to sing If I Could Fly Like a Snowflake, and to let little kids look up to the 6th graders and see their safety patrols singing with them. No solution that we came up with allowed for that to occur. We even talked about moving to 4 assemblies. When Mrs. Giancarelli emailed about maybe you could do them alphabetically, we thought about it and we said, what is the impact? The impact would be even more disruption during the school day. The impact of 4 assemblies puts less students in the room and lets less little kids see big kids, lets less teachers see the students of the past. That's how one school, one sing-along came to be. We knew from the start that we still wanted an opportunity at each grade level for parents to see their students perform musically because we value that. So before we would even commit to one assembly, which is why the communication was late, and I will apologize for that, we worked with the music department to ask, can you help us create a musical event at each grade level? They said yes, and this year, each grade at Oradell Public School will perform musically. Children will stand on the risers and bring joy to their parents through voice. However, it will be done in a manner that actually connects to the curriculum and is more intimate. That will include a 2nd grade musical, a 3rd grade recorder concert and instrumental petting zoo, a 4th grade tribute to New Jersey, and an opportunity for our 5th graders to sing patriotic songs, which, after speaking to our new rec director, I think will be able to lead to a give-back activity next year where our 6th graders go to the senior center and sing for Veterans Day. This year's One School Sing-Along is not a performance. No one is standing on risers. Students are sitting on the floor in a big U. We are singing together, our entire student and staff community. There will be games and activities interspersed between the songs. The assembly is about letting students see their teachers be silly. It is about joy. It is about being together as a school. Kindergarten teachers seeing the students they taught 4 years ago, and 1st graders catching a glimpse of their kindergarten teacher, which if you've never seen in the hallway, is the most special moment ever. We so rarely have opportunities to come together as one school. It is going to be a tremendous amount of work, but it is our administration's gift to our students and our staff. To our staff, we heard you. We know how difficult your job is, and we are going to reduce the inconsistency in your classrooms leading up to the winter break. And to our students, we expect you to work and work hard through December 22nd. But for doing that, we're going to have a day of fun. The sing-along, our community, one school, one sing-along, will begin the day before students return to their classrooms for celebrations and parties. The reason we chose to stream the event is because we wanted our voices together to spread joy to everyone. You may not see your child, but you will hear them. I will thank Councilman Kern for bringing up the sound. We will do some significant testing. We are actually using someone different for our video to ensure a better quality. There will be no risers. There will be us sitting on the floor with some TV screens to help our teachers know the words, because they will be singing too. Can I guarantee this event will be a success? No. And that's what Mrs. Hawley and I spoke to the children about last week. We shared with them, that we're scared. There are a lot of times as a leader of this district that I am scared. When we decided to have 2 teachers in 4th grade, it was scary. Could little kids, 8-year-olds, handle having 2 teachers? When we moved to a departmentalized model in 6th grade, it was scary. It came with numerous operational challenges, and we had to question whether reducing math time would be detrimental, but that statistic I just shared said it wasn't. When we moved from a science lab to a STEAM lab, people came to this board meeting and argued against it. If you've seen our STEAM tank projects, I don't think anyone would now argue that decision. Our job as educational leaders is to make decisions we believe are best for children. We believe that trying something new is in the best interest of children. And after the event, I promise you, we will evaluate how to proceed in 2026. I have to tell you, Mrs. Giancarelli, your words truly meant a lot to me today. They were incredibly eloquent, so if you want to get up there even more, please feel free to. For the new year, my job is, as superintendent, to direct the principal. I will be directing the principal to start a school leadership team that will include parents and teachers and administrators on it, because clearly we're communicating a lot, but we're not communicating right. And I hear you, and I'm committed to making it better. I ask that you let us try, because nothing's ever going to get better if we don't ever take a risk and try something new. Thank you.
Any other open to the public? Okay, not seeing any, we'll move to old or new business. Any old or new business? You have anything, Mrs. Walker?
The one thing I noticed in the minutes from the meeting for, for the one Greg. I'm pulling a blank. Buildings and grounds. I noticed that there was a talk about a new sign for the front of OPS. Is that in the works, or?
Mr. Darian, you want to discuss that?
Yeah, we talked about the sign. You know, on one end, we can leave the sign as it is. We can just refurbish it. Moving away from that, we could replace the sign with a similar sign. Or on the other end of the spectrum, we can go and try to model our sign after, what's it, St. Joe's. Bergen Catholic. I'm sorry, not St. Joe's, Bergen Catholic, you know, with the waterfall and the marble and all of that. So, you know, we're leaning towards replacing the sign with something very similar. We tasked the administration to find vendors, and apparently a lot of vendors recently went out of business, and I think they're still looking. Is that correct?
Yes, the one vendor that did a lot of work, very nice, very creative, artistic, well done, he passed away. So
That's a problem.
the wife of the proprietor told me they were out of business.
Uh-huh.
So he was number one, but I'm looking for others because they did so much work throughout northern New Jersey for communities, libraries, schools, and their work was really good, so.
So basically, you know, I think we're going to land on something similar to what we have. I mean, to the average person, probably wouldn't notice the difference. The issue we're having right now is that the sign is made out of wood, and the paint is flaking, and I'm sure the wood is getting old. So, you know, maybe we might replace it with a wood-like composite material that looks like wood. But right now, you know, we're leaning on something that looks similar to the existing sign in terms of, you know, what it is. I mean, there is some discussions about maybe instead of using wood posts, using brick and then having a wood, you know, sign. It kind of gives it more substance, but, you know, that really depends on price. If we start getting prices that are expensive, we're not going to do that. So that's kind of where we're leaning, unless somebody starts to lean on us to go a particular direction.
I'm just thinking that we have a very creative community right here in Oradell, and that in some way maybe to reach out to the parents and those that attend OPS or have, if they can come up with similar ideas or not so similar ideas before we just go and recreate what we already have if we're going to the expense. Only a suggestion.
Mrs. Norian?
This may not be very, it may not win me any votes, but when the sign was originally gifted to the school, if you look back in the history, it was gifted as much more of the Bergen Catholic with the marble piece and the side pieces. They delayed, the PTA delayed, or the school somehow, it was delayed in being put in for a period of time. And then they came back with a totally different, which is where we ended up with the sign that we have. So the original donation to the school actually was more of a permanent stone structure of some kind. And then the people who were on the PTA decided to change it when there was a change in the administration of that.
Do you remember when, by any chance?
I could look back, and it was probably in, and actually I know the person who was put in the PTA who was put in charge of putting the sign together and getting it done, and that was Mrs. Carrie Chrisomalis. So I'm sure I can ask her and find out exactly when that was done.
Yeah, because this is my opinion.
Yeah.
If we accepted a donation to put a sign, and then somehow we ended up with a different type of sign, I don't think that's right. I think we should go back to the original donation.
There are a lot of people who would agree with you, but they were not in the majority at the time that it was done, so.
Well, we can revisit
Okay.
that, and I'd just like to see, you know, what was originally envisioned, and then we'll discuss it. But,
Okay.
you know.
So before you make a decision, let's see if we can dig up some of that information.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else, Mrs. Walker?
No, thank you.
Any other old or new business before we get into the resolutions? For the delegate assembly that Catherine has to vote on? So did anybody look at the email I had forwarded to everyone about the resolutions? There's 3 that the delegates will be voting on. You want to go over the first one?
The first one is from the Delran Board of Education in Burlington County, proposes a new policy language for adoption by delegate assembly and for inclusion in NJSBA's Manual of Positions and Policies on Education. The proposed resolution requests that the NJSBA support a limitation on the period of time for which a board member and charter school trustees' criminal history can be reviewed, and that it support language that would consider the nature of the crime committed before a board member or charter school trustee could be permanently disqualified from service. The recommendation from the resolution subcommittee recommends approval of the proposed resolution with the following substitute language that would amend current policy language to be included in the manual. NJSBA believes that board members and charter school trustee members should have the opportunity to demonstrate affirmatively to the Commissioner of Education evidence of rehabilitation upon finding a criminal offense that would disqualify them from membership, and consideration shall be given to the date of the offense. So tell me what you
So
want me to
before
vote.
Catherine keeps going, 5 resolutions were proposed by boards of ed, and 3 went through the policy, I guess the resolution committee at
resolution
NJSBA,
committee.
and these are the 3 that they are recommending to go forward for vote by the delegates. So this one actually, when I was originally a member of the board, and you also probably you, Mr. Darren, you did not have to be fingerprinted or background checked to be a board member, but now you have to be fingerprinted and background checked. So when that came through, it was in the middle of everyone's term, like several years ago, and there were some board members in the state of New Jersey who things came up in their background, could have been, I remember one specifically was like a marijuana charge when they were 19. So it has caused issues over the years. So this resolution is to just go back a certain amount of years and look at the type of offense. So personally, I am for it. Is anybody, Catherine's going to be voting for us, so you would have to give your opinion.
Did they clarify how far back
They
they
don't
go?
say.
Or do they clarify the level of crime?
No, but I'm assuming it's going to be.
They're saying that
Misdemeanors?
they should have the opportunity to demonstrate to the Commissioner of Education evidence of rehabilitation upon finding a criminal offense. So in other words, they would still have to go through the Commissioner of Education on whatever happens to come up. They still will have to go to them. So it'll still be discussed. It's not just,
It's
gonna
not a
be
blank
given.
slate that you go back a certain amount of years and you're in.
Yeah.
My concern is, child abuse or anything like that, like how, there's a high recidivism rate of child abuse. And, I don't necessarily want someone who's,
They're not going to let.
I would
Are you
have.
talking about like
I-
sexual assault or child abuse?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? They're not going to let someone like that.
I
go on
would,
it.
I would have a sense that the Commissioner of Education would steer away from
Okay.
any of that kind, in any case, because we're dealing with children.
Right.
I don't think that the Commissioner of Education would make that judgment.
So it's like a case-by-case basis? It's not?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
That's what it's
everything,
saying.
that's
Yeah.
what it's saying.
Okay.
It says the board member should have the opportunity to demonstrate to the Commissioner of Education evidence. So it's a case by case.
I mean, I have no opinion on this. I mean, I have an opinion, but I'm not going to recommend voting either way because, there's just so many things on this thing. I don't like the vagueness where we're going to leave it up to the commissioner to decide. I don't like the vagueness in terms of rehabilitation. I don't like the vagueness regarding whether it's a misdemeanor or a federal offense or a sexual offense or a traffic event or tax evasion or anything along those lines, right? I have no idea what we're voting for. And on the other hand, I think, board members, it's a voluntary position. If you can't meet that litmus test, you shouldn't be a board member, I mean, what are we talking about? It's not someone's livelihood that, they're not going to be able to make a living. So,
We're not getting big bucks.
So, on one hand, I think that, I would be against this. But on the other hand, I'm sure there are these little nitpicky, things that come up, especially, in a state like New Jersey where someone, had a parking violation and they figured that was an issue. I'm exaggerating, but the point is that I'm sure there are certain things that was unfair and they came up in a background. Maybe it should have been, what is it, when you get something annulled or...
When it gets expunged. the record
Expunged,
gets
thank you.
expunged, yeah.
So you have something expunged, but yet it's showing up on these databases. And even though it should have been wiped clean, it's on there, and because it's on there, now that you're publicly humiliated and you're removed from your position. So, I mean, I understand both sides, but it's just so vague. I'm just not comfortable voting for or against it.
Mr. Nutland?
Mrs. Norian, will you have an opportunity before you vote to further
Ask further
vet
questions.
this?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
So you trust me?
I trust you.
Okay.
I don't necessarily always
Trust them.
trust them, or trust,
Okay. Right.
and that's why I would trust you after the
I'll be
voir
asked
dire,
this.
of questioning.
Okay, so I will ask more questions.
Mrs. Walker?
Just a comment, something must have come up to predicate having this on the agenda. So I would be for it.
I'd like to
because
know what it
there's-
was.
Oh, Well, you'll be there to ask.
Yes, I
That's-
will.
And then you might have to table it to vote until you came
Mm-hmm.
back to us.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that I can do that because at the assembly, you're one of all the districts that
They
are
just-
there.
they'll just
The vote will go ahead,
Well,
but,
we're leaving it in your lap.
okay, I will do my best, okay?
Thank you.
Okay?
Any opinion?
My opinion is just pretty much that I think that if you have an opportunity to ask questions, because the language is vague, I understand going on a case-by-case basis, but I feel like you need some sort of bar that you're setting
Some
for
Guideline.
what somebody can do, yeah.
Mrs. Downey?
Yeah, okay. So I will be asking lots of questions
And,
and commenting that it's too open-ended.
yeah, and I would, that's my hesitation. I'm probably a no right now, but I trust you. But going back, if they don't clarify what these boundaries are, then my personal opinion would be a no.
Right.
A hard no.
Thank you. Okay.
The next one comes from Clifton.
New policy language supporting the belief that there should be universal free school meals for all pre-K through 12 students in New Jersey. Resolution Subcommittee recommends approval of the proposed resolution with the following substitute language that which would amend current policy language to be included in the manual. The NJSBA believes that a free school program should be offered to all students at the expense of the state and/or federal government. So they're not referring to any meal. They're referring to a free school program. Again, it's not clear.
Mr. Nutland?
Provided by the state means provided by the taxpayers.
Exactly.
So I'm a hard no.
Okay.
Even if they were paying for the meals, we don't have anywhere to prepare it or anything. Like, we don't have the
Exactly,
facilities.
exactly.
Mr. Darian?
I mean, yeah, for us, it could be a liability, right? If they were to mandate it, we'd have to provide food, and we don't have, so we would have to build a cafeteria. And then,
or-
of course, pay for free food.
We would build a cafeteria, or there are different ways to approach, and that is, there are places that bring food in.
Yeah.
But
But,
that's a little different approach, because we investigated those when we were down at workshop.
yeah, but, the problem, the problem with a lot of this is that, it has good intentions, right? And so I don't want to argue with good intentions. But what ends up happening is if you're providing something for free, I'm sure the quality of food is going to be so bad that no one's going to want it. Because who's going to spend more money, as an example of taxpayer money, offering higher quality food? I mean, right now, we're paying for food, and we're still getting subpar food. I mean, I haven't heard anything good about most cafeterias in most school districts. So, it's high in starch, and carbohydrates, and sugars, and, it's not healthy food. So, I mean, mandating it for it to be free, I'm sure the price is just going to go down. And I don't know what that's going to serve. We're going to all be eating cardboard.
There are also applications for free and reduced lunch that families can apply for. And they can be subsidized or even given free in the event that there is a need. So there are programs, for those who don't know, that will provide meals for children.
Yeah. We don't qualify, do we? Isn't that something that we have to qualify for?
Families can apply up until, I think, October 31st.
If we had a lunch program.
I also think
Milk.
there are ways.
If
They
you
can get
were,
it delivered.
if you were to submit those documents here, you would get free milk. That's how it's always been in the past. I think if they were to get benefits outside of here, they go up because we don't have a lunch program.
Right.
No one submitted an application this year or last year. Since I've been here, there has been zero applications submitted.
Any opinion on this side?
I don't believe we're set up for it in our school personally.
It's a tough question because it's really, again, very vague. It's not saying how we're to set it up or where we're going to get the food from.
So again, more questions that need to be asked.
Mrs. Downey? So I think we're a no on this kind
Okay.
of.
Okay. And then the last resolution that's being presented is from the Bridgewater Raritan School District, proposing new policy language supporting the belief that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, education should be integrated into aspects of pre-K through 12 curricula for all New Jersey students. Recommendation, therefore, NJSBA therefore recommends adoption of the proposed resolution with the following substitute language that would revise the language in the policy. The NJSBA believes that local boards of education should dedicate an equitable amount of instructional time to science education in elementary and middle schools relative to the amount of instructional time allocated to other subject areas.
Again, what does equitable in relation to other subject matters mean? And I think we already have STEM worked into most of our, it's already in the New Jersey State curriculum.
But I think it's the amount of time that is dedicated to science versus, say, language arts or math.
And this may actually not be something that we would have an issue with, but there may be schools across the state that would have issues with this. And what they're saying is they want all schools to have an equitable approach to STEM.
Ms. Bozios, do you have an opinion on this?
You said K?
Or do you want to say how our STEM curriculum works?
My concern with the New Jersey State Learning Standards have always been that it's just more and more and more being put on the plate, and the plate then gets too big. And so I would rather see depth over breadth, so adding more is not something I typically will stand behind.
Mr. Notland?
I'm all for, STEM being integrated into our schools and every opportunity. But when I think about the formidable years of pre-K and kindergarten, those are communication and sharing and the skills, some of the most important life skills ever in terms of communication and stuff. And I just think we really need to foster that. They're going to get the science and technology as they move forward, but I just think about pre-K. I'm not ready to shove curriculum down their throat when I want them to color and make a mess and share and learn how to clean up and do those things.
Also, the implementation of this policy is going to look different in a K to 6 district than it is in a K to 12.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to affect K to 12 more than it would us. If it was, well, I shouldn't say that. If it says every district needs to do it, it's going to affect us equally, but it really shouldn't. So I would say, what do you say, Mr. Darian?
Well, look, I'm confused. Our standards are set by the state. I know that we, many years ago started with STEM, and now we're including arts, so it's STEAM. Because we don't want to be very specific towards, one segment as opposed to the other. arts versus science. The issue I have here is that, we're board members, and now I think like we're not staying in our lane, and we're getting into, the state and the state standards and the curriculum and what they state statewide, right, through some sort of policy. And I don't, it seems like it's not like, for me, it doesn't seem like it's aligned with what's currently going on. So, I feel like it's competing with existing standards. So, look, at the end of the day, what's nice about local governance is you have the ability, the state standards are the minimum standards, right? It's just the baseline for which everyone has to meet. And the state exams are the minimums. We can exceed them anytime we want. We can add and do whatever we want above, as long as we meet the standards. So, if I don't know who proposed this, whatever the school district is, if they have an issue with not having enough STEAM or STEM, whichever direction they want to be going in, they can just add it into their curriculum anytime they want. So for me, I just think like as board members, we're like not staying in our lane, and we're now going to be putting policy that may be conflicting with where the educators are going and where the standards are going.
I see your point, but what they're talking about is turning this into a policy, which is that is the job of the Board of Education, is to create policy. So
For the standards to follow?
We're just saying that they want equitable time. They are saying in this that STEM is important, and so they want equitable time. That's what I get out of it, but it's just a matter of creating a policy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a district issue on their issue.
Yeah, but this would then come down from the state to the different districts.
Yeah.
And NJSBA is giving us a free policy review this year anyway.
Any opinion?
But if they're handing that down from the state, then they have to change their testing too, correct?
Not necessarily, because the standards are the standards.
But if if you're taking away time from ELA and math, that's preparing them for the standardized tests.
Well, the way we teach STEM, if you want to talk about it, is in our subjects.
Right.
You want to
I guess you could think of it this way, like recently the state added additional standards in life literacies, right? Like things like financial literacy, and that take anything away. They didn't make the literacy test shorter. And that's really been a lot of the concern of educators, that the state keeps saying, let's do a little more without changing anything. I strongly believe we need to integrate STEM for two reasons. Number one, because it is the way of the future. Number two, because it teaches problem solving. But at the end of the day, we are in elementary school, reading, writing, arithmetic.
Playing.
Didn't the state just in the last few years I thought we changed our curriculum recently to add all the things that the state pushed down on us.
We did specifically in computer science and design, which is the standards that we were tasked 2 years ago, maybe 3, with weaving into every single part of the curriculum. I do think that science overall is up for a renewal, so we're going to see some changes coming up there as well.
But the state board did tell every district what they needed to add to the curriculum.
Right. My concern about the way that's written is it seems to be talking more about time.
This one,
Yes.
yeah, and I don't like
And
that.
I don't like time. Are you now going to say we need to spend 42 minutes on reading and 42 minutes on STEM and 42 minutes on this? There does need to be some autonomy. Our job is to meet the state standards.
Yeah, that's my thought, that if you're integrating STEM throughout the day into the lessons that the kids are doing, then that should be sufficient.
The other thing that bothers me the most is, I don't know how they're going to administer this. They're going to administer this equally among all the grade levels, right? It makes no sense. I mean, obviously in high school, yeah, it's a big deal. There are kids who artistic who are not going to do well in math, and there's kids who love math and doesn't care about, writing. But in the elementary school, it's like we're building a booster rocket, right? And if these kids can't read and write, they can't get past the gravity. You can't become a scientist if you don't know how to do math. So it's like, I get all this, and it makes sense at certain grade levels, but when it comes to elementary school, between like kindergarten and third, fourth grade, it's just reading and writing, and math, learning your math tables and, the basic math. And you got to be able to be competent. If you're not competent in those areas, everything else it's not going to sink in. So I just don't, if they're telling us that, oh, well, we got to, be politically correct and have STEM equaling English, and then half the kids can't read at the grade level and have trouble writing, we're not accomplishing anything.
Okay,
So that's a no.
okay, so
Any
thanks
other-
for all of your help.
Any other old or new business?
I guess we'll see you in another month or two.
Yeah,
Catherine.
really, thanks. I'll let you know how Saturday goes.
Well, maybe you should tell them, they should clarify better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's left vague on purpose.
They have a few things they need to clarify on
Do you have your
Saturday.
notes clearly laid out now?
Oh.
We have a
No,
record.
no.
We have a recording for you. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay. I'll
Any-
look at the recording. Are you
Any
ready?
other old or new business? Do you need to go into a closed session? Would you make the motion?
Okay, I move that we go into a closed session.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Walker, roll call.
The roll, Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Downey, Mrs. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Nutland,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes, we will not be taking any action. Thank you for coming.